All right, many thanks for joining us on BloombergQuint. With me is Steffen Knapp. He is the India head for Volkswagen Cars India. Many thanks for joining us, and we are inside ID, the concept. Why VW? Tell me about this one.
Actually, this model is called ID Cross. It's an electric vehicle. It's based on our MEB platform, how we call it. Volkswagen has decided to create a single platform only for electric vehicles. This car is an SUV coupe concept, which we want to try to see how the reaction of the public is here now to Expo, to then further define our electric path for India.
Talking about your electric plans for the Indian market, in this year's Auto Expo as well, that's the key theme. Everyone is talking about either showcasing or launching their EV plans for the country.
Yeah.
What is VW has for its stable for the EV market?
Well, there are two key themes. If you look around, one is obviously electrification, and the second one is SUV. So on the electrification side, we as Volkswagen, we are ready. We are rolling out the biggest electrification offensive in the world. So we are going to produce electrified cars in 8 plants in Europe, in the US and in China. When it comes to India, we still have to investigate how is the right way to get electrified cars into the country, because first of all, the purchasing power is different to the countries we are focusing on at the moment. Let's say the framework for bringing electrified cars is somehow changing a little bit too much for us, in order to have a stable environment. So we are still investigating, but the first thing is very important. You need to check whether the customer wants and appreciates these vehicles, and that's the reason why we have this vehicle here, to see the interest, to see the reactions, if there is a market for us.
Right, but we have seen multiple players such as Tata Motors, Mahindra & Mahindra have already launched vehicles. Would you perhaps want to also have one of the first mover advantage as the EV story goes for India, given that the buzz and excitement the electric market is getting in the country?
I appreciate absolutely what our colleagues are doing. We at Volkswagen, for that market, which is predominantly sold in the small car sector, at the moment do not see a viable business case. Because what we understand from the customer in India is that 85% of customers are willing to purchase an electrified car, or are willing to, let's say, look at it, but only 5% are willing to pay more. And it's a very value-driven company. And therefore, we are not seeing a viable business case at the moment for a smaller car here in India. That's the reason why we focus on combustion engine at the moment. And the second step is then to see whether you can, let's say, somehow play around a little bit with some cars to see how can you build an infrastructure in terms of charging station and so on. Give you just a number. In Germany today, as we speak, we have 14,000 charging stations, which is by far too less for electrification. In India, we have 325. So the infrastructure is not there yet. I think it will come, it's no question, but at the same time you have really to adhere what the customer wants. And therefore we don't think that the customer is willing to pay substantially more to become perhaps the same value.
Would you be perhaps spending on the infrastructure to begin with before you bring your own vehicle, or are you going to just focus on getting the vehicle in the market?
We are at this stage in a different level. What we want to do as Volkswagen brand, we want to come to the next level. We've been starting only 10 years ago, and we see more now the future first going in SUV, which is the trend of complete India, because it's a perfect car for India, it's no question. So we're going to launch 4 new SUVs in the next 2 years. And this combined with a very efficient petrol engine, because we believe that's the first level. To focus our energy now on electrification, from my point of view, doesn't make a lot of business sense. And you'd rather go where we see the biggest potential.
So how do you aim to? You have been in India for a while now, and you have been looking for a larger market share. What's the strategy here which will also help you get a bigger pie of India's automotive market? Because we have seen in the past as well, players have in fact had to retreat from the market.
Yeah, so we are here to stay, that's no question. We are a very sustainable brand, we never left the market, and we see a lot of potential in India. We gave ourselves 2.5 years a clear vision. We want to achieve 3% market share and to become a sustainable brand. Sustainable means sustainable for me as an OEM, sustainable for my partners and dealers, for my suppliers and my consumers. The clear vision is there, and we have aligned our product portfolio to that level. We believe 120,000 cars a year, that's the sales volume where you become sustainable. And this combined with a very intelligent ecosystem of keeping your customer with us will make us here going in the right direction.
Right, and also talking about, market is in a bit of a slowdown right now, the prolonged slowdown. How are you grappling with it, and how do you foresee the sales going to be for this year, and especially the FY21?
First of all, let me start with Volkswagen's performance. We're very happy to say that in the last quarter, for instance, we've been outselling the market. So we've been growing our volumes, we've been growing our share. So we are pretty stable and sustainable with how we work. Secondly, I think the economic factors in India are still bound to grow. We have a pretty much stable inflation rate. We have a pretty much stable interest rate in the country. The government has a clear policy how to steer the country. So I believe it's a dip, which is natural, which comes back after a certain time. And we think in July, around mid-year, we will have come to a stable level again, and then the country will see an industry growing again in India.
Right, and talking about the capacity as well, given that you talk about expanding your base, where are you at as far as the capacity is concerned, and if you're looking to expand the capacity as well in the going near future?
No, we have a capacity in our plant installed of around 180, 190,000 cars. We believe that with this capacity we are able to cater to the need what we in terms of volume. So there are no plans at the moment to increase our capacity.
Also talking about the coronavirus that's gripped China, I want to get a sense of, because a lot of the major OEMs are might face a supply crunch, but what's happening in China? How are you stocked as far as what kind of impact do you foresee from the coronavirus on your business in India and abroad?
Well, I don't see any effect on our current business because we are not. We are basically trying to locally supply what we can, and the rest is mainly coming from Europe. So we're not so hard hit with this coronavirus. Obviously, we're very concerned because one of our base of Volkswagen is in China. We are selling 3 million cars in China, and our customers obviously more concerned about their health than rather buying cars now. So we have to see how this develops. But we believe also that here, when you look at the last epidemic, what we saw, like the SARS virus, that the government in China is going to get this under control, and the Indian government is also taking precautions on this matter. So it will be a slight dip, and then we come to a normal level again.
What has been the key learning for you from India, and what is that you're going to change as far as your focus and as far as your vision for the Indian market?
So India needs 3 fundamentals. Yeah? The first, it is a total cost of ownership which is competitive. So we are working hard to reduce our cost of ownership. We actually made a first step with 30% cut, and we will go further. So that's the first element which we learned, which we have to address. The second is you have to frequently bring new products. In India, news is decisive. It must be kind of shiny. It must be feature-rich. That we have understood, and you see us launching a variety of new SUVs in the marketplace. And last but not least, value is key in India. That means that you have to get your localization level under control, and that's what we do. We have today, as we speak, a localization of 80%, and we're going to ramp it up to around 92 to 95%. With this, we will be more accessible in India, and we can provide our outstanding quality, safety, and fun to drive to more customers in India.
All right. In terms of lineups, just to add to that, you said 4 SUVs in the next 2 years.
Yes.
Anything else lined up for Indian market? Because you mentioned that you want to keep launching multiple products. What's the strategy here? 2 products a year, because some OEMs are even launching 4 products a year.
Yeah, everything depends also a little bit on the size. I told you I'm going to go for a 3%. I think launching 4 SUVs in 2 years is a lot. Yeah, so we have to also manage this, get this at the right price point, at the right time in the marketplace. We are focusing on SUV. Obviously, we have a wide toolbox around the world. We're the biggest manufacturer of the world, and we have a lot of cars available. What might be interesting for India, we're looking at this, multiple options, but I need to tell you next interview also some news now.
So basically, you're saying essentially SUV is going to drive your growth in the Indian market and help you achieve the target that you're looking at. Steffen, many thanks for the time and speaking to BloombergQuint. Pleasure speaking.
Thank you.